Hi everybody. It's been a month. It's been a month since I last talked to Noah, and I guess since anyone did. And I want to say thank you to his friends. Noah really has some wonderful friends. You guys have made such an enormous difference to me and to Liam, but you have no idea what a gift you gave me at that vigil. And I almost didn't go because it's for the same reason that a memorial service seemed really just not. It was just it didn't make any sense, because it was just like, I know that Noah would have wanted to have something just private with his friends, and I'm still thinking maybe on his birthday or something we'll do something. I'm not sure, but just privately, with his friends, like who he would have invited over, because authenticity and it was a big deal to my boys and me, and people that weren't there for him in his life come tell me that they loved him now that he's gone. I didn't want to do that, and so because Noah would not want me to have something where I had to feel uncomfortable and I had to let people come there and pretend to be mourning, pretend that they were going to have any sort of sense of what has been lost when they were choosing not to have him in their life already. And I would do anything to get Noah back. So with Liam, we don't have that choice. And so we have a really short. We don't really have a lot of room for people that have a choice, and don't take it, and then want to come and talk to us about love and about Noah. Because you know what Noah needed? Noah needed a community of supportive people, just kind, compassionate people. Not super judgmental. That's what he needed. And so, he was lonely a lot of the time. And he was angry a lot of the time. That's the reality, and so that he lived in. He lived in a reality of feeling that the people that there were a lot of people around that he couldn't trust, that betrayed him. And I hoped it would just be kids, but I was afraid it wouldn't be. And Liam was like, Mom, if anybody should be there, it's you. Don't let somebody, scare you off. I need you there, and you should be there. And I was like, I knew he was right, and so I went. And yeah, I did have to. I did have to have some moments that I would have preferred I didn't have to, where I felt like. It was phony, it was fake, where someone who had really hurt us, who had either really hurt us or just didn't help us, but could have made a big difference in Noah's life, was there, with their arms outstretched to me when they weren't a week ago, or they didn't understand that you couldn't love someone and at the same time backstab their mother. But they didn't get it. And so in the same way that they don't get that they can't come up to me now that my son is gone, give me a hug that they wouldn't have given me a month ago, and whisper in my ear that they loved him. I really believe that if he had a community of the older generation that acted like his friends, that had as much compassion and insight as his wonderful friends, and as much love as his wonderful friends, he might still be here, you know? Because you guys had so much to teach your Generation X parents and baby boomer grandparents, because I haven't seen that much wisdom and that much love in a long, long time. You know, one of my saddest things about him going so young was I was thinking, God, he didn't get a chance to make his mark. He was so talented. You know, I wish that he had a chance to do two things: make his mark with his music and leave a child behind. Those were like two things I just was like, really, man, I wish that he had that. I wish that we had, you know, that more people got to, you know, they got to make his mark, like Jimi Hendrix, like Kurt Cobain, like, you know, some of those other people. And he used to joke that he was going to die at 27, which I used to be like, that's not funny. You know, now I think, oh, maybe in those 7 years, if he'd had 7 more years, maybe he would have done those things. You know, maybe he would have had a baby, and maybe he would have made it with his music, because he certainly had, I think if you were to compare where he was at 20 with where those guys were at 20, he was well on his way. You know, he was so gifted, and so, you know, he was touching so many people with his music already, with just, you know, with minimal effort. He hadn't really even gotten really committed to it yet. He was just still battling with the drugs and stuff so much. He hadn't, he hadn't really cleared his head fully to start committing to his career. And I kept thinking that was going to be the thing. That was, you know, let's just do that. That'll be the thing that saves you, you know. And I think that he was on his way. He was really on his way, and this is just an accident. You know, it was just something that, it was just a reckless thing. And he was reckless. He did. As I'm sitting here, you know, my son is gone, and I know that I am not ever going to get to see his children. I'm not ever going to get to see, you know, his gold record. I'm never going to get to see, you know, whatever it is that he was going to do. I don't want to boil this down too simple. I don't want to oversimplify this too much. I stress the piece about the drug addiction because there are a lot of young people watching, and a lot of them are using drugs still, and I just want to make it very clear that that there were drugs involved. If he was not using drugs, he would be alive right now. And so and he didn't want to die. This was an accident, and so he did not mean to do it. It was completely an accident, and this is a deadly, deadly thing. I guess I'm just putting it out there. I'm just, I want to thank those of you that did call and I want to, like for instance, my aunt and my cousin, you were the first ones in my family to call me, and you left such a heartfelt messages, and you called back other times too, and just left messages, and that was a wonderful thing to do. Don't be offended that I don't call back. Please, I just hope that everyone would understand that, and you seem to understand that. The messages, just a little note for if you ever want to help someone out who's grieving in the next time. It's a really great thing to use the phone and call and just leave messages and become impossible to offend yourself. Just be like, hey, I just want to let you know that I was thinking about you. You're on my mind. I can't imagine what you must be going through, but if you need anything, please let me know. I'll drop everything and come over, whatever you need. That's a perfectly great message. And then if they don't call back, don't disappear. Just call back again the next day and say, just checking in again. You don't have to pick up the phone. You don't have to call me back. I just want to let you know I love you. That's the perfect thing to do. Waiting a long time, putting a lot of distance isn't good. And talking about your own grief isn't good. Talking about moving on isn't good. And especially not if you are not super close or you have moved on. For instance, my mother said something to me about moving on. It was a really bad thing for her to say, because obviously she's moved on. She would, easy for her to say. So, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. You don't think you're gonna have to go through what we've been through and then losing my child. And all I wanted, when I had these kids, I didn't care about. Yeah, sure, of course, I would love to have, had them go on to have great and happy lives and children and all of that stuff. Of course. But the main thing that I wanted for either one of my kids was just that they would grow up into people that knew how to give and receive love, that were compassionate and kind, and we're just really good people. And man, it was such a gift, because over and over and over again, you guys would come up and tell me exactly that. You would give me examples of things that I wasn't there to see, about what a good person he was. And I knew that he was a good person, but you talked about things that I never even knew about what a good person he was, and it was of all things I did not ever expect to feel at a moment like that. At a moment like this, was proud. I felt proud. I went to I had a reading done with it wasn't a psych, it was the name, medium was what they called it, medium. And the medium said that, speaking for Noah, he said, and this was just like the week after it happened, and he said that it was like the day after the vigil. It's the day after the vigil, and he said that Noah was, so he spoke for Noah, and he said that Noah was confused still. He didn't mean to. He couldn't believe it. He was like, he said that he was like, he said it was just like going to sleep, Mom. I just thought that I went to sleep, and then I'm like, holy shit, what happened? And he was there with our cat, Selena. And he said, there's a gray cat circling around his feet. And I'm like, that's our cat, Selena. He was there with his great grandmothers, my mother's mother and his father's mother, which, that made a lot of sense. He said he's with these two ladies. One of them has something to do with horses. She's got horses or something like that, or maybe Mustangs. I'm like, oh, she drove a Mustang. Oh yeah, okay, that's it. And then something like, did she live in a trailer? I'm like, yeah, she lived in a trailer. And the other one is like, something about her head, like she had a head injury or had a stroke, or I'm like, no, she had Alzheimer's, she had dementia. Oh, okay, yeah, that's it. So those are the two people he was with, and they were spoiling him and everything. But he was pretty confused, and he was just getting his bearings, and he was, feeling pretty bad about it. He didn't mean to do it, and he said he had lots of plans, and he didn't mean to do it, and so he said he's with us a lot. He said he stands next to me all the time, and that I could talk to him anytime by putting if you're right-handed, put your right hand on your heart. If you're left-handed, put your left hand on your heart. And the way the guy told me is you just put it there, and you just basically think about him, and then you can just talk to him. That's what he said to do. And I'm sure that there's other techniques and books and things you can try if you believe in that kind of thing. I don't know. Noah was kind of a spiritual person in that sense. He believed in a lot of things like that. And what I know is what my experience was when I had a near-death experience, and everything that the guy was saying, it hooked up, it met up with what my experience was. So I think I definitely don't have this sense that he's gone gone. I sense that he's still here. Now, I'm not expecting that this is going to last forever. I mean, I don't know, hopefully, but I feel like I'm kind of lucking out so far. But, I'm going to be thinking about, as each of you have your benchmarks, your things that you go through, and you have your successes, and you have your babies, and you have all that stuff. I will be thinking about my Noah and how he didn't. Now I don't get to know him doing that, but I'll tell you, you gave me such a gift at that vigil, because I left when I got there. I felt like his life had just been cut so short, and he hadn't had a chance to really do anything yet, to make his mark yet. And I left feeling like, oh no, he definitely made a mark. He made a difference. He left this world better than he found it. And that was, what more can you want than that? I mean, that's something I'm really proud of. And that's, Noah was creative and loving and gifted, and he left the world, and he left many lives better off for his short life here on this planet. And who else can say that? But you guys were all there validating that for Noah, and it was such a gift. It's such a gift for me to have that.